channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys this very easy tutorial of this kimono shift dress with patch of Ankara on it. So basically what I've done here is just to fold my front and my back panel the same. So I have 4 layers of fabric here. So and then what I'm going to do now is just the width of this fabric depends. So I've calculated the length here. I want my dress to be about 40 inches, and then I added extra 1.5 to it for my seam allowance. And then the next thing is to check the width you want to use. So the width you're going to fold this fabric is going to be your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So my shoulder is 16 divided by 2 is 8, plus your sleeve length. Whatever you want the sleeve length to be, that's going to be the next measurement here. So I have 7 inches here. I'm just using the width of my fabric. So I have 7 inches here. So that makes it 8 plus 7. That's going to be about 15 inches. So the 15 inches is going to be the width I'm working with here. And that 15 inches is still going to fit in my hip measurement and all my measurements. So it doesn't matter. So now the next thing we're going to do is to start inserting the measurement. So what you're going to do now is to insert your shoulder measurement. For me, which is 16 divided by 2, which is 8. I've put that in here. Then I'm going to go ahead and come down here by about 1.5 or 1 inch. I'm just going to mark that here, and then marking my neckline, which is 3 inches neckline here. So I'm going to just mark in my front neckline. It depends on you. The one on the picture on the thumbnail has a wider neckline, so you can do 4 inches of width and 4 inches of depth. It depends on you. So I'm just going to use this one here. I'm just going to use 3 inches for now. So now I'm going to connect this to the 1.5 that I came down by on this side. And then the next thing you're going to do is to come down here from the top here, and then you're going to insert your armhole. So my armhole is 20 divided by 2 is 10. I'm going to insert my waist, my shoulder to waist, which is 17 on this line, and then my shoulder to my hip, which is it's supposed to be 25, not 24. So this line here. So that's all the lines I need. So on this my bust line, I'm going to insert my armhole line, I'm going to insert my bust measurement. My bust is 42 divided by 4 is going to be 10.5. I'm going to mark that here. I'm going to add 1 inch of seam allowance, so that's 11.5. I'm going to come down on this one here on my waist, divide my waist measurement by 4, which is going to give me about 8.5. Mark that here. I'm going to insert 1 inch of seam allowance. Mark that here. It depends on you. You can also do 1 inch of seam allowance, half an inch of ease if you want it a little bit loose on you. But I'm using exactly my measurements here. But you can do your measurements divided by 4 plus half an inch of ease. That's you want it a little bit loose, or you can, instead of doing half an inch, you can do 0.25, or you can do just your measurement divided by 4 plus just seam allowance. You don't have to do ease if you don't want to. So now I'm going to go ahead and insert my hip, which is 48 plus 1 inch is going to be 13. I'm going to bring down that same measurement here. If you want, you don't have to use exactly the measurement at the bottom here. The measurement of your hip down here, you can subtract 1 from it if you want it to look a little bit pent. So this is what I'm working with down here. Let me just check. So this is what I'm working with down here on this line. So at this point now, I'm going to go ahead and connect from the bottom to this part, from here to the waist, here to the bust. So guys, mine is not going to have zip, so that's why I'm cutting the front and the back at the same time, but it's going to have button. So guys, now after that, what I'm going to do is just to connect this line this way, so that I know that this is my armhole here. So just give it a curve, because you don't want it like a sharp bend how it was before. So I just gave it like a curve here. So now all I have to do is just to go back in now, cut this out this way, all the way to the end. So guys, as you can see now, I've cut this out. Like I said before, I've cut out the size. If you don't want your neckline to be this here, you can just do, if you want it like a wide boat neckline, you can just do like 4 inches width. Just mark like 4 inches here. If you don't want to put like a button at the back, you can do 4 inches or 4.5, and then come down by the same 4 inches, and then just widen it this way. 4.5 width, 4.5 depth, and then just widen it like this. Your head can always fit into that, or you can do 4.5 or 5 inches and then open it up that way. So that's another way. If you don't want it to have button at the back, you just want it loose at the neckline, you can do that. So all I have to do now is just to separate it now and cut out my front neckline, and then we'll come back here and finish up how to put in the patches. So guys, this is what we are going to be using here. It's about 5 inches width, 5 inches, like 5 inches square, 5 inches width, 5 inches length. That's the square I have here. You can do 4.5, you can do 4 inches, depending on the size you want your squares to be. So now all I have to do now is I'm just going to take them and place them on one side, right? So I'm going to just place them this way on one side, and remember it's going to overlap on each other. So it depends on you. Just cut patterns that you think will work and then just go from there. So all I have to do is just place them this way, and then I'm also going to just design it the way you want it to look, and then you're going to go ahead now and remember the tips are touching each other. If you look at the design on the picture, you see that the tips are from the top to the bottom. The edges of this thing is that they are facing each other this way. So I'm just going to try to, you just do your own thing however you want it to look. You can just do it that way. So I'm just going to keep placing mine. So after placing it now, I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. What I'm going to do now is to go ahead, you can see from the picture, and design it the way you want yours to be. So I've placed everything how I want it to be. I'm just going to take this pin and pin it down. So this is how I'm going to pin it down so it doesn't move. You pass the pin the first time, right? You pass it this time, and then the next thing you cross it over. This way it doesn't move at all. Like you hold it down this way. So you cross it over each other. So you put it one this way, and then you cross it over again with another one. So it's like this, like an X this way. So this way it doesn't move at all. So all I have to do now is to go to the sewing machine. You see how this one is, it touches it is touching the tip of each other, both on the sides and from the top to the bottom. So all you have to do now is just to go ahead, and I'm going to start with maybe this side, and then all I have to do is just take it this way. So I'm going to move this so I can show you guys. So all I have to do is place it. Let's say I've placed it under the sewing machine now. I'm just going to fold this side like this, and then I'm going to start from this edge and just sew it down this way. You're not going to start from the very end. So you place it under the sewing machine, you fold it in this way, and then you don't start from the edge. You just start somewhere here, sew all the way down here, you stop, and then tilt this one in to like this, and then you sew down this edge, come down to this one. So before you get to the end, you stop. About before you get to the tip of your machine gets to this part here, you stop, so that you can be able to fold this part here in this way. And then before you get to this part again, you stop, so that you can now be able to fold this. At this point now, when you sew to this point, you've gotten back to where you started. So that's how you're going to go all the way around and sew it like that until you get to the very end. So I'm going to just go ahead, pin all mine down, and then go back and sew it. You can see I tried my best to align mine. So it depends on you. You can just try to do it the best you can, but as you can see, some parts here are not in place. Just try your best. Just try to attach the two sides together, the top and the bottom to meet. Just like that. So after that, the next thing I did is just to iron it down, and then I joined the shoulder and the front together, joined the shoulder of the front and the back together. As you can see, this is the seam of where I joined it on top of the shoulder. So you see, you make a stitch down there with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. That's how you're going to sew it down. After sewing it down, I try to use bias to finish up my neckline. If you want, you can use, if you don't want to put in this slash, like I said, for a button, you just want to use a round neckline, all you have to do is just to cut a facing. I already have a video on my channel on how to use facing. So you just cut exactly the same neckline, but a smaller version of it, and just use it to turn it over as your facing. So now what I'm going to do is to show you guys how I'm going to do the turn up sleeve. So this is what I'm using for my turn up sleeve. All I have to do is about 5 inches of width like this. So all I have to do is just to fold it into two, and I'm going to take it this way. After folding it into two, the right side, so this is the wrong side of this fabric. inside. I'm going to fold it this way. I'm going to take it like this now. Open up this sleeve. You see, this is the right side of my clothes, right? I'm going to take it now and sew it down all the way to the end this way, and then I'm going to flip it over. So guys, you see what I was saying? You're just going to take it, sew it down. So you see, the way I folded it is just behind. So now all I have to do is, I folded it behind this, like this. So now all I have to do is just to flip it over. So now it's going to be in front. So now you see it's in front here, and then the back looks neat like this. So that's why you have to do it this way. So you flip it over now. All you have to do is just to take it, close it up like this, right side facing each other, and then you're going to sew it down to the end, right? So once you sew it down, when you flip it out, it will look something like this. So I've done this side. You see what this side looks like, and the seam is on the inside of it. So you see, you flip it, you sew it down, and then you have this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of mine, finish it up, and hem the end of the cloth. So that's basically how you sew this kimono dress with patches. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.